know who this council is? Who these people are? I'm going to give you about 5 seconds to comment who you think these people are below. Don't cheat. Alright? If you guessed that this is the Anunnaki, then you are correct. They lied to you about the Anunnaki. They lied to you all. This video is going to make a lot of people angry, so this is your last chance to leave. The Anunnaki is not what you think. And those who have taught you about the Anunnaki have been taught by teachers and have been taught by false teachers. And their teachers have been taught by a man who either was mistaken or misleading. Here's the story that they told you. On a planet called Nibiru, there's a very developed species called Anunnaki. They somehow have messed up their ozone layer. This devastates their agriculture and their societies, and there is an environmental crisis. But they find out that there's a material called gold. Yes, and if they can wield gold, then they can use it to close the ozone layer. But there's one big problem. They don't have any, or at least not enough. So they still cannot close the ozone layer. Because of all the food scarcity, a rebellion breaks out, and Alalu unalives the king of Nibiru. Then he takes the throne. The Prince Anu, the rightful heir, defeats Alalu and forces him to run off. And then Anu decides to launch into outer space in a spaceship to find gold. Alalu finds this place called Earth, and he is forgiven for his sins, and they come to Earth to get this gold. So they land in Mesopotamia and they build a city. The Anunnaki realize that it's really hard to mine gold, so they enslave an alien race to do the work. Well, the alien race gets angry, they rebel, so they still need somebody to work it, so they find a primate-like being and they mix their DNA with this primate-like being and create humans. First, it fails and they create monsters, but eventually it works, they create humans. And they were all males and they were called Adumu, and the females were called Hiva. Humans thrive, they're able to build cities, mine gold, they're invited into a land called Eden, which is a sacred garden. Relationships between humans and Anunnaki is forbidden, but Enlil falls in love with a human, creating the Adapa. Let's go over all the things that are completely untrue about that story. There is no planet called Nibiru that's mentioned in the text. Nibiru is mentioned, but there's no planet. Anunnaki as planetary beings, again, this is not mentioned. They're gods of Earth, the underworld, of the heavens, but not specifically a planet or a planetary travel or spaceships. There's no mentions, not that the scholars say there's none, and I checked, I didn't find any mentions of the Anunnaki mining gold for their atmosphere. Now these myths do talk about the creation of humans, but not in nearly as detailed as this interpretation does. DNA and things of that nature. Hybrid humans, monsters, it doesn't mention any of that. And it doesn't mention Adumu or Hive, especially not in the way that this interpretation does. In fact, the person obviously took a lot from Genesis and put it into their story, even though there are stories that they share in common, like Noah's Ark. Where does all this false information come from? Well, his name is Zachariah Sitchin. This man, I think, is a very intelligent man. He's also self-taught in the language that he was translating to try to understand these stories. You also have to understand at the time there was a lot of crises, environmental issues being talked about in his time. This is the 1900s, by the way. But also people were just starting to translate these tablets. And so this language and learning this language was fairly new, so he made a lot of mistakes. For example, the way he translated Anunnaki. He broke up Annunaki. You'll hear a lot of people do this because it comes from this man. He interprets them individually. Anu, heaven, Na, two, and Ki, sky. But that's not how the language works grammatically. In fact, the Sumerians didn't even call them the Anunnaki. The Assyrians did. The Akkadians. The word was originally Annuna, meaning Anu's children are a royal bloodline. This is important because this is what he based the entire ancient alien theory off of. See, he interpreted as Anu or Anunnaki, meaning sky to earth. So beings who come from above down, aliens. But that's not actually what it meant. And a lot of people have made theories based off this man's theories, and if we're going to be responsible and conscious and intellectual and philosophical and truth seekers, we have to look for actual truth. We have history channels I like to watch, EU and History, pushing this stuff. If you want to read the real stories, go read the Epic of Gilgamesh and Numa Elish. Those are really good starting points. If you're interested in learning about humanity, what happened to us, where things are going, and how to get out the matrix, you need to go read the book called FAMS, Food, Forest, Foraging, Hunting, Anti-Fragile Modern Society. The audio version is free. It's giving you actual lessons on how to escape the matrix and telling you how the world actually works. It's in the link at the top of the page. I love you all. Let's talk about this in the comments. How do you feel about the Annunaki? Peace.